Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Added Time FPL. My name is Nate, this is Mike, and we are on Gameweek 19 with the quickest of turnarounds from a Gameweek 18. We've just had a Boxing Day fixture start, and we have 1 day of a break, which was today, Saturday, and we're back up tomorrow, which is a Sunday, with the start of the New Year fixture, I suppose, because this fixture will go into the New Year. This game week starts tomorrow and goes on to until I believe Wednesday or Thursday. But someone's playing on the 1st of January, so make sure to not have those players in your squad.
So you're saying this is the longest game week because it spans over 2 years.
Wow, you're such a father.
Not only that, but just this is the point in the video where all of you go, use this video as your reminder. Go check out your team because yes, you only have less than a day left to make changes.
Less than probably flipping 16 hours, I would say. So,
yeah, go make changes now. If you're making changes, go make changes.
What are you doing watching this video? Come in. I'm joking. Stay.
Or you can listen to this video so you know what to do and you don't have to spend hours and hours thinking.
Shall we do a quick catch-up session from Gameweek 18?
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the unhumble elephant, the broken robot, the man who missed a penalty. Nathan, why do you still have Haaland in your team? And can you tell others why you still have Haaland in your team? Until it's like some sort of AA meeting.
I think you put voodoo on me.
I did nothing.
No. Let me explain. Because when we were picking our joint FPL team, you said to me, Pickford would be a great pick. And what did I say? I was like, no, they're playing City. Why would you put Pickford in? No, do Pickford. And Pickford goes and saves the flipping penalty. And I have Haaland, and Haaland missed the penalty. So I got minus points. So Haaland got 0 points. Frustrated. But Mike, you asked me why I still have him. And the only explanation that I can give to you currently is that I'm just insane.
You stubborn.
Probably.
You don't want to admit defeat because the thing is,
you're right. I don't.
You have. I don't. There's no way Haaland can repay you for the 10 game weeks he's blanked. There's no possible way. Even if he scores a hat trick in the next 3 game weeks that you thought were green, he's still not going to make up the points that you lost. You need to get rid of him. There's no point holding him.
I know. And we will talk about that when we come back to our transfer plans. But yes, nevertheless, Haaland has been a big mistake for me. And
I would assume that you only hold, the only reason I would hold him if I was you is I'm not planning on my wild card just yet. And maybe getting rid of Haaland is a good opportunity to wildcard because you have 15 million to spread over one
14.
player. well, you can still buy a decent striker in replacement and you still have like 6 to 8 million to spend across your team. So it's a really good option to keep your Haaland transfer for the wildcard, which I assume is what your logic is there.
Yeah, I wanted to hold him on for this next fixture run and then move him off with a wild card. Which is the only reason why. And like I say, and I said it last week and the week before and the week before and the week before and the week before, I'm holding him because if I've held him for this long, you might as well keep holding him.
I mean, your team is doing really well with him. You can only imagine how much
better you do without him. I'd be in the top, like, flipping 1,000 by now. Seriously. But, yeah, we can't have nice things all the time. Speaking of can't having nice things, I can't have nice things because as soon as I bring in Levi Colwell, not only does he get an assist and potentially a clean sheet because for the 70th minute, I don't know, and then Fulham goes and bloody scores and then scores again. And that's why I'm not wearing a Chelsea shirt today.
I think your decision to bring Colwell in against Fulham wasn't bad because I thought that game
2 weeks before. But he did get a clean sheet for me against Everton.
I think they had 1 clean sheet in the last like 7 games. So I don't understand.
I know. I'm there with Maresca. We're talking. And let me tell you what Maresca said, Mike. This is one for the Chelsea fans. Maresca said to me, I'm going to show you. Maresca said this to me. And in at Cobham, actually, which is 10 minutes down the road from me, he said this to me. He said, Nate, let me tell you something. These fans and these pundits think I'm trying to win the league. But I'm going to show them. I'm not making any changes. And I'm going to lose the game and they're going to see that it's my way or the highway. No, I'm joking. He didn't say that. But that's the theory. What do you think?
I think Colwell is a poor decision because I don't see Chelsea keeping clean sheets. And we spoke off air about how I believe Sanchez is a better pick over Colwell. if point two more. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking about Colwell because he doesn't have an attacking threat, he doesn't have clean sheet possibilities, and he's randomly getting an assist, but not really
Yeah.
consistently.
No,
So
I
I
mean you're
don't
right.
know.
It was a 4.4 at the time defender who I needed to move on from Consa. So it was a
Mm,
defender that was guaranteed starting minutes in a good
sounds like a
scheme.
brilliant bench pick for me.
That's kind
Brilliant
of
bench
where I
pick.
was going with him. I've just my bench has not been very good defensively. I mean, I should have just fielded Robinson, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
nevertheless, Hoyson has
Chel-
been good for me.
yeah,
So yeah,
he's good. Chelsea and clean sheets are just not going together,
no,
and I
I
would
agree.
not
I
put
agree.
money on it. I would not defend myself. It's weak. They're very, very weak. But a team that is on fire right now is Isak in Newcastle. We spoke about bringing him in about 4 weeks ago. He hasn't stopped hauling
Mhm,
since then.
mhm.
I did bring him in. You brought him in last week, and I'm sure you're glad you did, right?
No, I brought him in this week only, but he scored. But yeah, I was a bit late. I told you, remember, I left the train
Yeah,
left the station. I had to run to
yeah,
the
but
next
he
station,
still scored,
but I
right?
brought him in and
So
he scored. Yes, so it did
so
pay off for me as well. Yeah.
as long as he stays fit, I think he's really good. But we were talking about some other Newcastle options, Nate.
Oof.
Your pick for Hall seems to have proven super, super good at the price point you
Yeah.
got
Thank
him.
you.
How much did you get him for again?
I'll double check while we talk about someone that's a very good Rogers replacement right now, or Smith Rowe replacement, which is Murphy.
Yeah, Newcastle are flying. So three players that I would target at Newcastle, aside from Isak, is Hall, which I don't know what his price was when you bought him in. I think it was around 4.4, but he's
He
4.7
was
now.
4.4 because I can sell him for 4.5. So he would have gone up by two. I got the one and then up by one. So if he goes up one more, I'll be able to sell him for point 0.2.
You brought him in at 4.4. He's now
4.4.
4.7,
Yeah.
and he's the top Newcastle defender. He's got attacking threat. He's got defensive uh, clean sheet ability. Then you got Murphy, who is flying right now over the last. This is okay. Let me read Murphy's numbers of the last 4 game weeks:
Okay.
7 points versus Brentford, 13 points versus Leicester, 13 points versus Ipswich, and 6 points versus Aston Villa. So
Yeah.
Newcastle and that's at a price point right now of 5 million. So and he's only selected by about 3% of players. So he's a very big differential. I think if I had gone for
That's Cole
Murphy,
Palmer numbers, hey, because I don't know if you remember, and if you guys watching this video want to refresh it, if you go back to one of our first few videos of the game week of the season, sorry, we have a thumbnail of Murphy saying that he's probably the new points hauler. And although he had a slow start, he's really racking them up now in towards this December period. And I think he's gone under the radar. And I think it's a great shout to replace that Smith Rowe, who hasn't been starting and not been on great form.
I even think that he was the call to replace Saka last week with
I
the
mean,
injury. I
he's that
think
good. He's been that good.
he was the pick, especially if you didn't get Isak, you couldn't afford Isak. I think Murphy was definitely pick. And you were telling me Gordon, who technically has more points, he hasn't hauled as much over the last 3 weeks, 10, 6, and 6. But he is, I would say, the one thing that's
He would be
positive
the
about
more
Murphy,
appealing one, though, Gordon.
he's Gordon's gonna start every game
Yeah.
unless he's injured. He is the out and out best choice winger. He is probably gonna start at left wing for
Maybe Arsenal buy
England
him.
at
No.
this point.
um,
Arsenal need a striker.
yeah, they do. Speaking of Arsenal needing a striker, just a quick touch on that it wasn't a very religious Christian Christmas because Gabriel Jesus did not reward you and your faithfulness, unfortunately. So, yeah, I guess
No,
you took
I
Jesus
I
out of
wrote it,
Christmas.
but I still think he's a good pick with Saka out. I still think it means that Gabriel will start every game until Saka gets
Yeah,
back at
yeah.
least. And I think that there's still hope against a weak Brentford. But I'll talk about that a little later
I
because that's
wanna
my
I wanna pivot to something else because we're on a trend of Nate can't have nice things, and another thing that Nate can't have by his own choice is Cunha.
okay. This
So why
firstly,
don't you have Cunha now? You tell because you are sane. So you tell me your thought process, and we'll talk about
I
what's happening.
had Cunha. Then he did something strange thing against a security member or a staff member from the opposite team, tried to poke his eyes out or something, and basically he was threatened with a ban. And he had time to respond, but there's been delays because it's Christmas. So
Mm,
he is going to probably get a 5 match ban. Knowing that was coming, I thought it was coming faster, so I jumped on the get out of Cunha train,
mm.
jumped off that train, but it's failed because
He's
Cunha.
not
I
been
mean,
sentenced. Well,
I did
served
swap him for
charges.
Isak, but that
Not bad. Yeah.
ban is coming soon. So my suggestion to everyone out there is if you have Isak, Hold him until he's bad because he's playing Spurs this week.
And Spurs are
Okay?
just ass. I'm sorry. Like, I mean,
Cunha's on fire and
yeah,
Spurs defense is rubbish.
yeah,
But if you are thinking about buying him in, there's only one reason I would say you should buy him in is because you're planning on wildcarding soon because you get your January wildcard next week. Right? So you bring him in knowing that you're going to redo your team. Like for you, Nate, you knowing that you might be using your wildcard soon if you're getting rid of Haaland. Maybe Cunha is a decent pick knowing that he's going to go all out for this game. But
yeah,
it's risky because that ban could come at any moment. But I think he's safe for this game week
yeah.
as of speaking. And that game week is Spurs.
And
And if
it's
there's anything,
and yeah, I was just gonna say it's rumored 5 week ban as well, 5 match ban. So yeah, when he goes down,
literally,
he
if you're
goes down
playing
hard.
Spurs, just flip a coin, heads or
Yeah,
tails,
I mean, it could be
five
Solanke,
goal.
it could be Cunha this week. Either
Yeah,
one of them gonna haul.
yeah.
Um,
Tell me something, Nate, about this unfair thing that happened to Duran, because
sure.
I think Duran's now red card 3 match ban means that Watkins becomes a serious option. But what happened to him?
So this is apparently very controversial because it's on X and everything on X is very controversial. You have both opinions. I'm not a Newcastle fan and I'm not a Villa fan. However, what I saw with my own eyes was a legitimate fall from Duran, stumbling over, I think it was Fabian Scher, catching the grass wrong, his ankle slightly rolling, and then trying to catch balance, but he was too far off to the left, so his stud hit the back of Scher because Scher was lying like from a tackle. Stud's obviously on the back. Anthony Taylor comes, blows the whistle, gives him a straight red card. Now, look, it's wet. It's cold in the UK and it's wet, right? It's slippery. I totally believe that he slipped and it wasn't malicious. Also, like, who's to say that it was malicious? I also guarantee if it went to VAR, it would have probably not been a red card. And I don't think it warranted like a straight red just because of like I hate Anthony Taylor as well, so maybe I'm a bias, but I just don't think it was a red card. I really don't.
I've seen ankle breaking tackles get yellow,
Yeah.
and yet someone slips on someone else and gets a red card.
I don't think it's fair. I don't care what you say as a Newcastle fan either, to be honest. Like, at me in the comments, because if you go watch the video for yourself, it's seriously not that bad. Like, yes, obviously it hurts. It studs on your back, but it's not like he trampled on you on purpose. His
You can
ankle rolled and he
tell.
tried to get out the way.
So you can tell when someone tries to move their leg towards someone to stamp on them. We've seen it many times. It's happened many times.
Definitely, definitely.
This was not a stamp. This was he fell, and there's nothing he could do at speed. So I think it's just a very poor call. But for us fantasy players, this means that Watkins is now back in contention.
And he will
Now
definitely start,
Watkins
yeah.
has 3 fixtures, 2 home fixtures, one against Brighton and Leicester. Those are 2 easy winnable fixtures, and then Everton away, which is the tougher of that. But then after a tricky Arsenal game, they have another run of green fixtures against West Ham, Wolves, and Ipswich. So that's
Hmm.
6 winnable games in the
Yeah.
next 7. And Watkins is now, he has dropped in price because people have not been really taking him seriously. He's sitting now at 8.8. I've got
Oh,
this option today about who
Isak's
I
more
want to bring
expensive than
in.
that right now, by the way.
Yeah. He says up
Um,
to 9.1 or 9.1.
I think not. Yeah, around there. He's broken the 9 mil mark. Yeah. Um, I like how you said 6 of the 7 because Everton just been a complete troll recently and just demolishing points of Chelsea and Man City. It's just
Yeah, so I guess there's more chance of him scoring against Arsenal than Everton at this point in
yeah.
time.
But yeah.
Let's talk about our team since we're there now, because I mean, I'll start with mine because yours is
I'm
easy. You
gonna
have
I'm
a
gonna
one
stay
liner.
down here and
It's just hiding there behind the couch.
uh,
So I'm gonna keep Jesus in because even though he was out for Christmas, he's in this week. He's got 3 good game fixtures, and I think he'll be the main man as long as Saka's out.
well, we
Um,
we do what you say. You don't make the move for 1 week, right? You make it for
yeah,
the 2-3 weeks. So yeah, I think
I'll keep
it'll
in
be good.
Jesus as long as Saka's out injured.
Yeah.
I think Lewis is someone I'm looking to move on because I think we should stay clear of
Rico
Manchester
Lewis
City.
for not Lewis Hall, Rico Lewis. I
No,
know it's
Rico
confusing.
Lewis.
Rico Lewis from
I just
City.
I keep thinking, just like Nate being stubborn, that City are going to turn the corner and they never do.
Yeah,
So I think if
Him and Vardiel. If you
he's on my,
few Vardiel players, hold
yeah,
it.
that's a lot of money. These mine's a cheap one.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably wait for a wild card, but I'm going to move him out. Jackson has been a trap. He has scored
Yeah.
1 goal
He
in six
baited you.
games. He's on a yellow card with ban, which means 1 yellow card. He gets banned, and I don't think he starts the next game because I think that he Maresca rotates his team and rests Jackson for Ipswich, which is the much easier fixture.
I would
Because
honestly
he,
not be surprised if Gu starts against Ipswich,
yeah, I would
or
love to see
even
Gu
it'll
start
be
up front,
yeah,
and
or even
Kunku in the number
Nkunku
10.
exactly, or even Nkunku starting Gu. Come on, I don't think Jackson plays.
Yeah, I agree. So my suggestion right now for me and anybody out there holding Jackson is let's get Jackson out. But you tell me, Nate, do I go for Cunha and wildcard after? Do I go for Watkins?
Ooh. Okay, so quick one. Statistically speaking, over the last couple bans that we've recently seen, with Kudus being banned, Gibbs White being banned, and Bentancur being banned, they all took about 3 weeks to a month for the sentence or serving of the ban to come through. Um, for those of you who don't know, it was the 19th of December, so 2 weeks ago, where Cunha had time to respond about the incident. So they'll probably serve the sentence mid Jan, maybe the second week of Jan, around there. So he's still got three, 2, 3, 4 fixtures to play. So I would say he's pretty safe until mid Jan. So I would do Cunha as the safer one. However, that Watkins fixtures showing that he's the only one now, does it encourage him to earn his place back as per se? Or does he just become a bit lazy because he's the only one? I would tend to think that he shows that he's still the number 9 because he obviously wants to play for England and all that. So Watkins is a very good shout now that we've spoken about this Duran incident.
Do you think Watkins versus Brighton is better than
Mm,
Cunha versus Spurs?
I know. No. I think Cunha versus Spurs is better. Brighton can turn up, and Brighton are way more consistent than Spurs, albeit they may not lose or they may draw. They don't concede as many goals as Spurs does. So
Mm.
and Cunha's form. We all remember what we said earlier in the season: form over fixture. So but I think Cunha's got the easier fixture and the easier form run. To be fair, I don't think Spurs have got it in them. Look, they might win, but I seriously can see Wolves scoring 2, 3 goals.
I think Spurs have no senior centre back.
No, they're worse
Like
off than
they
Chelsea.
play, but like, and if that's what Cunha is versing, and Cunha is playing, then I think you
But
might have
also,
a choice.
Cunha's not playing against a low block either. Spurs don't play low block. Spurs just counter attack, so they leave the backline open. And that's where Cunha flourishes. Cunha just runs in behind, gets the ball from over the top, and scores. So I think Spurs is the better fixture this week.
I think Nate's gonna say his plans now, but I think he's gonna drop his plans and trade Ireland for Cunha. It sounds. Nate, what's your plans before we talk about captains?
um, I think I'm going to hold the transfer. Here's why. Haaland's got 2 more weeks of these green fixtures that I've so graciously held him for. However, if I can hold a transfer for another 2 weeks, that means I'm going into January with 3 free transfers, which I think is massive because that means I can delay my wildcard even further. 3 free transfers in Jan means I can take out Haaland. I can reevaluate Cunha or Watkins, depending on form. I can rebalance my midfield. I can get out Smith Rowe because he's a bit injured and he's not been playing. And I could potentially upgrade to Virgil van Dijk, which is something that I've been wanting to do because Liverpool clearly have what's in them to win the championship this year because they were losing over the weekend and then they came back and scored 3 goals. So, class. I have a colleague that will appreciate me saying that, but he doesn't watch this, so it's fine. So that's kind of my plan on why I'm holding the transfer. I know it means still holding Haaland. However, his value is not going to drop way more than 14.5. I'm okay with losing that amount of money because I've gained it elsewhere, if that makes sense. And I also want to rebalance around this new manager chip. I'm not sure what it's going to play. So that's why I'm kind of just trying to get as much transfers as I can before I play my wild card so I can have like a double wild card in essence.
I think holding Ireland is for that reason is not a bad idea because you're gonna have those transfers. You have a mini wild card, but also the reality is that
It's going to cost me.
could could Haaland outscore Cunha or Jackson or Isak? Yes, of course he could. He
Has
could
he?
pull out a hat
No.
trick all of a sudden. He hasn't, but he could very well do it
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah, he can. He
So,
can.
and
It's a
Leicester
big,
are
it's a
not.
gamble. And I didn't think I would say that Haaland, captain or having in your team is the gamble of the season. The way he started, I never thought I would be here in December going
Triple
into
captain
2025.
game week 2.
Literally, I would have never thought. If you told me this, I'd be like, you're talking absolute trash. He's going to get 50 goals this year. Anyway, but yeah, we'll
Now,
see.
captain wise, Nate, I need advice from you before we tell our captains, because our captains are not great choices all the way this week. But here's my thing. I'm like 50 points behind you players who play like amateur, like they don't really care. And all that I'm 50 to 100 points behind them just because they captain Salah every week. And I keep thinking my only way to gain on them and gain close to you is to captain the right person who holds, but I just can't get the right person.
Mm.
Now, what is my option here? Do I just play it safe and solidify my position and crawl slowly, matching their captain to Saka? Or should I keep trying to find a differential captain to somehow claw my way back? Because all I'm doing is just getting further and further behind. What
So
should I do?
I've got two options. The first one would be to captain Salah and get your points through differential players. So you're captaining Salah, everyone's going to captain Salah, you're going to get that 20-point haul, right? Great. However, those that it didn't work, unfortunately, but those that had Cunha and you had Jackson, for example, maybe Jackson hauls and Cunha didn't, you climb points there. Or Enzo Fernandez hauls while people still have Rogers, you climb points there. So that'll be the one option, is just to play it safe, to start gaining momentum, and then look at slowly chipping away the lead and to look at getting points through other means of players. The other one would be is that I think it's just been annoying that the differentials haven't been hauling because they normally do. It's been a very weird December because, for example, this past week, Salah wasn't the best captain. It was Cunha for once. And then it wasn't even Salah second, it was Palmer. So, like, if you had captain Palmer over Jackson, I think if you didn't have Jackson, you would have captain Palmer and you would have probably taken a few more points. Um, but yeah, for me, I think you could keep playing the differential game, but you gotta maybe pick someone that's more guaranteed and more likely to score.
So
Jackson is a yeah,
stick to our options of if we're gonna say Salah, not Captain Salah, I should be captaining today Palmer.
yeah. I mean, he's playing Ed Sheeran on the week. I mean, sorry, Ipswich.
Tell us about the captains for choices for this week.
Okay, so
Thanks for the advice.
so on that we've got Salah playing against West Ham, albeit away. We're playing at the London Stadium. It's still West Ham though, and it's still Salah, and Salah has a great record against West Ham. And I don't think with Liverpool we can consider away fixtures anymore because they're just trying to win the league. So
But could he be rested?
could he
I
be
didn't think
rested?
he. I could.
This
I
is the
didn't think he
thing.
was gonna start
I didn't
on
think he was going to start.
after Christmas.
Luis Diaz was benched. Luis Diaz didn't even appear in the lineup, who I brought in for. So I was a bit annoyed about that. But I think now Diaz plays, Salah gets rested. I'm not sure. I think maybe that's the way. So this comes down to who's your vice captain this game week, I think. Second on the list is Palmer versus Ipswich.
Does
Or
he start?
I don't know. This is the thing.
Did we
All
play the
these
B team?
players that we said last week weren't going to start started. Now it makes me wonder if they are going to start. I think if Maresca's serious about the league, he will play Palmer.
He doesn't even think he's in that title race. He plays one sub a game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he's technically like, what's the title race? You know what I mean, right?
Every time I thought he was gonna rest Palmer, he hasn't.
And now
So
when you think
I
he's not going
think
to race Palmer, he's probably going to race Palmer.
so. I don't know about that, but I do think there's a little star against it for me.
I do think that Isak is a good shout against United.
I think Isak plays. I think Isak
I
starts
agree with you.
100%.
Considering as well, Isak plays on Monday, so he's got a bit of a break, a bit of a weekend. And
And Man United are in free fall
well, exactly. Like, I mean, they just lost 3-0 over
to
the
Bournemouth.
weekend to Bournemouth. So, like, what are you going to do? Sorry, no, they lost 2-0 to Wolves, and then they lost 3-0 to Bournemouth the week before that. So they really aren't. They're not on it. They're not on it. So yeah, I would look at Isak as probably the safest in terms of who's going to start. But in terms of points, if Salah starts, I think it's Salah. But this is why your vice captain matters. As a differential, Mike, I think it's a big ball move if you bring in Cunha and captain him this week.
Against Spurs. How you can see you're a Chelsea supporter. You hate Spurs, obviously. Obviously, you hate Spurs.
Okay. Spurs are losing 1-0 against Forest. The week before that, they're losing 6-3 to Liverpool. I mean, fair play. It is Liverpool. But then they scored 5-0 against Southampton. But then they bottle the lead in the cup fixtures. Like, you're 3 goals ahead and you bottle the lead. I
They
don't know,
still
man.
won at least. But I agree with you, but it's a coin toss. I don't know. But like we said, uh, Spurs has no defenders of note. They all played with injuries. Wolves are in form, and Cunha is going to be on fire. So maybe
And
Cunha versus Spurs is a move.
like I said, and for those watching, this isn't me saying that Spurs will lose the game. They could very much
No.
win. This is me saying that it's going to be a 3-3 or 3-2 or like 4-2 kind of a game, and Wolves will be on the score sheet. So,
Clearly, that guy doesn't care about his job because he doesn't care. He plays his way or the highway, and he's
and
going to be the
Foster
one
got no
walking on
clue.
the highway. He's going to be walking on the highway. I think that's all we have time for
Yeah, there
today.
we go. This will be the last podcast of 2024.
It's been a good year.
It
A
has
good
been
year for potting.
We've climbed a bit. We started the year with 60, or started the season with 60 subscribers. We've skyrocketed to 138. So thank you guys so much. I think we'll just keep going from here. And this is it's just a fun podcast. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and do like the video. Comment down below on your team selection or captain choice this week. Share this video with your friends as a reminder, because I told Mikyle this deadline's tomorrow, and he was like, "What? Really?" I was like, "Yeah,
I thought
tomorrow."
I had 3 days. Bloody hell.
So for those of you in the UK, deadline is 1 p.m. tomorrow, 1 p.m. Sunday. For those of you in Canada, that's probably
It could be anywhere between 5 a.m. to
2 a.m.
9 a.m.
or between there. Yeah. So nevertheless, keep that in mind. Like I say, share the video, use it as a reminder. There's some good picks in here. We hope that you've had a great Christmas. We hope you have a extravagant New Year's Eve. Don't get too hammered. I'm talking to you, Arsenal fans, because you're playing on the first. So, but nevertheless, enjoy. And I hope that Chelsea can win so we can have a very, very happy New Year's Eve. Otherwise, we'll be a bit sad with an episode next week in 2025, our first episode of the new year. Yeah.
Nah, I'm positive. I'm positive we win. We will.
I think so too. But
may your points really be good this week.
Go.
Start in the year well.
End the year strong, end the year well. Oh, last one, join the mini league. We got 63 players, so just come on in. It's never too late. And yeah, like Mike said, may the points be ever in your favor as always, and we will see you in 2025.
See you next year.